This episode of the Lucy Pod features a brief discussion about sexual assault. If you want to avoid this content, please skip the following section occurring from 41:27 to 43 and enjoy the rest of the episode. Please take care of yourself. Okie dokie, so welcome back to the Lucy Pod. So now I'm sat with my friend Cairo, so we're going to give her a big round of applause.
Thanks for inviting me.
It's okay. And Cairo is a Bachelor of Commerce student at the University of Melbourne, and you need to tell us one fun fact about yourself because we're doing university icebreakers.
Okay, one fun fact about myself. I could use a prompt. I would like to find a graduate job overseas. That's my fun fact.
In France?
No, actually, I was thinking the US.
The US.
Controversial choice. Very.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Not the greatest places in terms of their social climate.
Economical,
political.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to ask some background questions. So what subjects did you do last year in your second year of uni?
Well, this is a complicated question because of exchange and everything, but I came back and I had to do a couple of capstones for commerce. So I did OB, which is organizational behavior. I did an HR subject, which wasn't the most riveting of things, but it doesn't matter. French.
Of course.
And I did quantitative methods, which was scary.
Sounds like all the subjects I'd be really bad at. And when did you start online uni? Like, at what point did you come in to start studying? 'Cause it was staggered for everyone.
It was staggered. I don't know what the timeline was like for everyone that was in Australia from the start of the year. So we came in, I should say, around halfway through the semester it was. So at that point, everyone had transitioned into the online environment. So, like, I'd come in from a French uni where everything was still in place and I went straight in. I didn't have that gradual kind of...
transition. And so how were your subjects delivered? What was the setup?
Everything was online.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so tutorials and lectures. The one thing I'll say was that because everything was online, all of the material taught was actually pre-recorded from some other semester.
Okay.
So in terms of actually having a live Q&A kind of setup, it was like, here it is, and that's it. So in terms of how engaging it was, I didn't really find that I was engaging with anyone except for in a tutorial. And even then it was like the tutor would ask a question and everyone was silent and it was like...
Very awkward.
Very awkward.
So now it's the burning question. How was online university for you? What do you think?
It was convenient in some aspects, but I don't think I would say that I prefer it or that I enjoyed it overall. I come to uni for the campus and to enjoy like everything that the campus has to offer. I like seeing people. So all of that kind of was taken away, and that's what I'm looking forward to next semester.
So what subject do you think was really poorly delivered? You don't have to name it. You can just say, oh, that subject. But what was a subject that you think did not transition well?
All commerce subjects. No, I'm kidding. It's more... I do believe that how well a subject transitions is dependent on how interactive everyone wants to be. So I feel like in person, if you're in a classroom, you're not as intimidated or you're not as scared to say, hey, I have a question, or, you know, I don't understand. So that's why I kind of struggled with the classes, because I felt like everyone was too timid and everyone was so silent. I felt like that kind of impeded on what I was able to take out of it.
The other question I was going to ask is, so did you have a routine of getting ready for online uni? Like, was there okay, I'm going to get up, I'll do this, then I'm going to do my work, or were you able to just roll out of bed, get on your computer and do the work?
I'm someone that needs to have a routine, and it's a lot easier to have a routine where
Yeah.
Like, I need to actually leave my house to be at a place at a certain time.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it's a lot more tempting to say, okay, if I have class at 10, I can hop up at like 9:30, squeeze in breakfast. I don't like that. So
yeah.
I did have a routine, but it's a lot harder to stick to it when I don't have that pressure of actually having to try.
Yeah, because I think if you don't have a routine, like when I spoke to Trent in the interview, he was like, oh, I was just able to roll out of bed every morning at like 8:30 when my class was at, 9 o'clock, and I could just sit on the computer and start. And I don't know how anyone can do that.
No,
like that would wreck the start of my day. Like it's impossible. So the other thing I was going to ask is, do you think that there could have been, like, what things could have been improved in certain subjects? Because I know that for one subject we did together, French translation, it was really complicated because of time differences for our teacher. And the lectures were like an hour long. How do you think it should have been fixed? If you could change it or give feedback.
In relation to this subject in particular,
or
in
anyone.
General?
I was just using that as an example.
Sure.
Grievances.
I feel like in terms of communicating, sending emails I don't think is the quickest way. And if I just have a quick question, I found it really hard to contact some people. So I feel like if there was a function provided on Canvas or, whatever kind of platform that was more of like a chat thing as opposed to like...
waiting for... because emails aren't efficient anymore.
No.
We actually need to get rid of those. And I think Canvas is such a good platform that I don't know why it doesn't have a messaging option, an instant messaging thing. I'm sure there is, but I don't know why Melbourne Uni doesn't make use of it.
Yeah.
Because it would be... because I know lecturers are busy, but I've sent so many emails that go unanswered.
No, that's true.
And it's not like you can march into their office and go, did you get my email? Like, they just don't reply, like in France, No, but it's true. They absolutely ignore you. So, yeah, I agree. Do you think there's any subject, or are you going to be taking any online subjects this year?
I'm currently taking an online subject.
And how is that?
It's an improvement. I feel like the people in it, like, I think in general, so this isn't just for this class, if you're taking an intensive subject, you're there to learn and you're there to take something out of it because you're trying to speed things up or you're trying to compensate for underloading.
Yep.
That, and as well, the fact that, we have had time to adjust and we know what to expect from like a Zoom call kind of thing. And I think people know that if you aren't saying anything, then it is a real chore. Yeah. It is a real chore. Yeah. So in terms of having a group that actually talks to you and is actually interested in finding out who you are, it's been good, actually.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did you find that because of people's timidness and shyness, it made it harder to communicate? Like, did you find... because I find that when you're in person, even if you're with shy people, you can work with them, like in class. True. Whereas I remember the amount of times I've been put in breakout rooms where it's just crickets. Insert crickets there, Trent. Like, it's just crickets, and you're like... or it's the opposite. They're overcompensating and they're going on and dominating the breakout room. And then, it gets...
too much.
It gets too much. Yeah. How do you think that impacted it? People's behaviour?
Well,
it's true. It's people's behaviour,
Yeah, no, absolutely. So far it's been okay. I also feel like there aren't those kinds of people in this one because we do have class quite a few times a week. And so there's content, and you don't have those kinds of people that just talk about anything and everything and just try to like crack jokes and stuff, and it isn't appropriate. So in terms of everyone's attitude, it's like we're here to kind of push through this, which is good. And at the same time, it's not as if they're cold and
no, of course
care. It's it's good. It's good.
That's good.
Yeah, it is dependent on who you get put in the class with. That's for sure.
We won't name names. No, we won't. So, do you think online uni would have been easier if COVID hadn't been an issue, and this might seem like a dumb question, but some people I feel like genuinely love online uni, but it was just COVID that made it horrific.
That's a good point, actually. As I was saying before, there are convenient parts to it, and I wouldn't have minded taking online classes if that wasn't an option. I don't think it was prior to COVID, but this is interesting because the subject that I was talking about, like the one that I'm taking now, is called The Future of Work, and it kind of encompasses all of the factors that combine and that change the way that we approach things. So work in a professional kind of sense, but also, you know, the stuff that happens in schools, primary schools, high schools, and uni. And this came up, and there's been a general like change in everyone's attitudes. Everyone now has come out saying, look, we actually have a preference for having that hybrid kind of thing where we have the option, if we would like to stay at home 2 or 3 times a week, that should be an option.
Yeah,
because I think prior to COVID, everyone was so like, I felt like it was this inescapable thing where, you know, you always had to come in and you had to
be, and it alienates people, because I feel like it's given the opportunity, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, why are parents complaining about being in lockdown? But if you're having to work from home and you've got, or you're having to 3 kids, it's quite difficult. Whereas if you can go to work, you know, 2 days a week, have the kids be in daycare, and then a few other days being with them, it's a lot easier, because I can't imagine being at home with 3 children having to do work from home. But I think the COVID situation made it worse, because I had a lecturer say, because you guys were in lockdown, you've got nothing better to do, so you may as well do a lot of work.
No, see, I don't think that's fair.
And I don't agree, because that's not logical. So what?
Especially because I would probably say for half the time that we had to be at home, it was like we had to be at home. So it's not recreational in the sense that we are spending time at home. It was claustrophobic. It was
not a choice.
No, it was hard.
It was not made easy. And I think lecturers forgot that not only are we not at home doing nothing, we're also doing other subjects. And you giving me an hour worth of lectures and making me translate, you know, ancient documents, it's
a lot.
It's really a lot. And I keep thinking how me and you would have coped if we had done online uni in France, and what their situation would have been if we'd stayed there, and how we would have coped. I think it would have been worse. I think it would have become really detrimental at some point, because I don't think our universities had anything in place for online.
That's the thing. I do want to say about about UniMel was that they do have a pretty good interface. Like
Absolutely.
If we're talking about Canvas, you know, it's clean.
Absolutely.
Things
Zoom
are easy to find. Yeah. It's not as if, you know, you have to click this and that. And
you've got Canvas. I agree. Yeah.
Whereas Jean Moulin and
Lumiere. Context, Cairo and I went on exchange and we had to come back due to COVID. So go on.
That kind of infrastructure was just not
a thing.
Existent.
Because you don't have to pay for your education. So teachers and schools figure, well, if they're not paying,
we don't have to invest. We don't have to go that extra step.
And it was just really bizarre going into class. I don't know if it's the same for you, and seeing whiteboards, like actual whiteboards and chalkboards, no interactive.
I saw that as I was,
And like the slideshows were not on an interactive whiteboard. They were projected onto a whiteboard, and it was just PowerPoint
like high
slides.
School, it was really, and it had that high school kind of vibe as well, where you had to ask if you could go to the bathroom or, you know, everything had a strict procedure.
And teachers were not like, even though I think at uni, teachers are not that much on your back. Like, you're very much self-directed. I feel as if at Melbourne Uni, they kind of spoon-feed us and help us, whereas in France, you're kind of just let to do what you want. Like, yep, you show up to the lecture. If you ask for help in an email, the teacher, and this is a true story, will say to you, I get so many emails every day, I don't have time to respond to yours. And it's like, so what are you paid to do? Like, what do you do?
What do you
Do you just walk in and speak at a class and then leave and like go get, you know, a pizza with like wine in, you know, violon? Like, what do you do all day? I think online uni would have been terrible. I wish we could ask like Agatha or Chiara about what they're doing with universities right now, because
we should. Because it got really, I haven't really been tracking it recently just because I've stopped with the news. It's really depressing. But when we got home, I was tracking just how bad the situation got over there, and it took them a really long time to get things transitioned. And like the cases per day were really bad. We're talking,
it's really bad.
I think their highest record for a day was 80,000 cases, and that was like April. Like that was just after we'd gotten back.
It's like a red zone. Like my mum's really cousin actually got COVID recently. She's like recovered now, but it took her 2 weeks to get her COVID results. Her test results. That's ridiculous. So what do you do for 2 weeks? Do you self-isolate? And like they don't tell you, but I think you would, like, what do you, it's really, really ridiculous. And the other thing I was going to ask is, do you think Melbourne Uni has enough support in place for students who find online uni hard? And not just students with, let's say, ADHD or other learning issues or mental illness, but maybe students who are far away, who don't have good Wi-Fi, who don't have maybe that good of a computer or have to share a computer with mum, dad and their sister. Do you think Melbourne Uni has done a good enough job?
I admit the personal experience that I had, especially coming home from exchange halfway through the semester, I was met with a lot of resistance anytime that I asked for help. Like, could I have an extension for this assignment? Can I please have some special consideration? And I will quote word for word when I asked about an assignment, and I think I was asking for an extension or something. No, sorry, I was asking for special consideration.
I think you told me about this. Yeah, go on.
And like I explained the story, like I haven't had time. Like I've literally come in now.
It's an extenuating circumstance.
Yeah. And the response was, well, everyone has to deal with COVID, so your circumstances. Like, if I was to accept your circumstances and then give
everyone
you that,
else, but not every,
that's unfair to everybody else.
But that's false, because not everyone had to come home from exchange.
Which is how I tried to like combat that, and it was like, no, you can't qualify for special consideration. So I don't know if that was
that's not good enough. I don't think that's good enough. And that argument, well, if I give you that, everyone has to have that. Well, maybe everyone kind of needed special consideration. Maybe you're going to have to give it to a few people. Like, you've got the resources. Let's not act as if, let's not act as if, you know, they're struggling. So you were met with resistance.
I was. I don't know if that was that specific subject coordinator or that tutor, or if that's the experience that everyone has had. And I do empathize a little bit, just because I know that a lot of jobs were cut.
Yes. Yeah. And that was a lot. Really problematic.
Like, I have a tutor who was asked if he could scan papers for some other subjects midterm.
Right.
Like, so far out of his job, like his role.
Yeah.
Like, he had to do all of these other things. So now I've been thinking about all of those other people who, let's just say, for example, have had roles in Stop 1 just answering phones, who now have to like clean. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stop 1 is its own
case.
But yeah, so I empathize to that extent, but at the same time, you know, I have questions about why the uni has struggled as much as it has. I think that, you know, a few things could have possibly been avoided in terms of, you know, how they adapted.
I mean, I think the most shocking thing I had, I think I told you, was that when I got back from exchange, I thought I had special consideration because every time I asked for extensions, I would get one. And then Melbourne Uni Disability rang me and said that I never actually had a finalised file.
Yeah.
Which I'm not putting anyone to blame because I don't know how that happened or who that was caused by. But if I had been a student who, let's say, had a very severe learning difficulty or maybe a disability, like I maybe was hard of hearing, dyslexic, and then having to do online uni, I wonder what would have happened if my file had not been completed and I had been left without special consideration for a few weeks. Like that's like I moaned about mine, but mine wasn't that serious. I've just got ADHD and I need people to take notes for me. But I wonder what would have happened if it had been someone in a really severe circumstance and they just said, "Oh yeah, your file's not done. We'll get it done when we can."
You do have to show some proactivity and you do have to be independent and, you know, ensure that you have things in order. But when there's an application process and when you hand over your files to be, you know, what's it called, like checked and whatnot, there's a responsibility for the uni to be like, we will have to do some of the communication for you.
Absolutely.
So the fact that they couldn't
do that for me overseas
about your ADHD.
Yeah. And then when I got back to not do anything, it's like, a little...
Who's in charge of that?
Because I did my part. I filled it. It's not as if I didn't fill out the document and then complained.
Yes, no.
I filled it out.
On time. Yeah.
It's like saying to a tattoo artist, "Hey, can you write the word love on my arm?" And then they write love incorrectly. That's not my fault. I communicated to you clearly and you've stuffed up. And we never get answers. I feel like every university, not just Melbourne Uni, has a lot to answer for with how they handled international students coming back, scholarship situations, grant situations, and how some people were told, "Oh, yeah, you should take a leave of absence because we're not going to be able to give you online classes."
You know what? That's a good... I was planning on saying something about that, but then I forgot.
Yeah.
One of the solutions that was often presented to students who would say, "Oh, look, you know, I don't have a computer at home, or I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have the facilities that would enable me to partake in learning online."
Yeah.
The response that was often provided to that was, "Oh, well, then you can skip semester."
And that's really negligent because everyone has a right to education. And if people don't have a laptop because for whatever reason, that's not their fault. And to say, just don't study is in other words saying, we're not going to help you and we can't be bothered, so miss out. And I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I think that's really reprehensible, that should not be happening. No one should be missing out on their tertiary education.
Not at all.
Because they have difficulty, not the right resources. And yet we were even told to take a leave of absence.
We were. And also to return a scholarship. I don't know if that was because they were trying to, I don't know, scrounge around for funds or something. But how's that asking for a student who was awarded a scholarship to return it?
When they've already got other things going on, coming back from exchange. I remember emailing admin and Stop One and explaining how I was going to be struggling with going back home and how my ADHD would be affected. And it was, well, leave of absence is always an option. And it wasn't, leave of absence is an option, but also here's what we can do to help you. Like I think that's really wrong. I think there should be more liaison between disability support and admin, because I feel like Melbourne Uni Disability Support's its own entity, and that's why I think maybe your subject coordinator got away with saying, no, you don't get special consideration, because ultimately I think via policy they should have contacted disability and asked about your case, and I'm pretty sure you would have gotten special consideration.
Yeah.
You know, given that you had to come home and it was not your fault, like we came home, even though we were encouraged to stay, which is a whole nother thing that I need to talk about in the podcast in another episode. But yeah, no, I think that response is really poor. Now, the other question I have is, do you know anyone else at any other uni who's been having a rough time? Because everyone I've interviewed so far, except for Trent, has been Melbourne Uni.
Ah, okay.
And Trent's at Swinburne, but any other uni that's sort of... Because his experience was quite positive, Trent, so I don't know why. He was very like, yeah, it was cool. It had its moments. And I'm like,
So carefree.
and I was
envy
like,
that.
and I was like, I envy that.
Swinburne is the place to go.
It is the place to go.
Yeah. No, I have
Like any Monash.
Yeah. I have a few friends there who was studying commerce as well, and you know, a few of them are really extroverted, so they get their energy from like a room full of people.
Like
so,
me. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And
they were struggling with that, and particularly because commerce, like, I don't know if it's the same for arts or for any other one, but there are some capstones that are in there, and they are just like intense. Like, even if they don't really have anything to do with what you want to do, like
you have to do them.
to do it, because commerce is that generalized kind of thing.
Do you have to do capstones in second year and
first year, second year, and they kind of tend to take her out because third year is like what you specialize in.
That's so weird, because with arts, it's you do a capstone in your third year.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like the final. That's interesting. That's a lot.
Yeah.
A capstone first and second year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had this one friend. And she was saying, because I know that with the way that we were examined, it's not the same way that they were examined. So everyone, obviously, with confinement and everything, your exams had to be online. And you had to have your cameras on. You had to have, you know, everything on. You had to mic on. I was about to say this, but this isn't true at our uni. And their uni, they had to take photos like up here, down there, side, like a full 360 thing of their room. And they had to have that sent through a particular software, and then that would get sent through to the person that was like in charge of the exam, and then they had to tick it off, and they had to check your camera on top of that, and then say, okay, like.
But that's so flawed, because if they check it, but then like, what if I have notes like in my lap, like just like I'm not encouraging that, and I wouldn't ever do that, but like it's a bit like, what if someone's under the desk giving you the answers?
No,
like,
I think
like someone actually asked me, my French class, is your dad under the desk like during tests? I'm like, my dad's in the middle of online teaching, like he's giving me answers. So yeah, what were you gonna say? That
I wasn't sure if you had to actually like stand up and show like a full photo of your space. I don't know how it worked. That's very intense, because I had to do exams, but we didn't have to have our cameras on or anything, because they were, in quotation marks, open book.
Yes, that's right, they were. Yeah, mine was as well.
So, you know what, in saying that, I kind of came into it like, oh, you know, if it's open book and I write everything, I'll know exactly like where to find things, but it was actually really time consuming. So if during the semester you didn't commit things to your head and know like certain calculations,
you're gonna be flipping
like how to it really sucks up your time. So it isn't any easier, the fact that it is open book. Like, I struggled, and I had paper everywhere, literally. It was a paper storm in that room when I was sitting that exam. Storm. It was disgusting.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was disgusting, but I passed that, so it's fine.
Oh, bravo. And the other thing I was going to ask is about doing exams online and studying online. Terrible confession, I think I've said this in every interview, I was building houses on Sims during class and watching TikToks. Now, not to say everyone did that, but when you would, I'm assuming you did get distracted and have another tab open of stuff.
I do.
Did you find that detrimental? Because for me, if I am, let's say, on my laptop and you're talking, I'm either focusing on my laptop or you. Yeah. And if I'm focusing on my laptop, anything you say to me is like, and then I don't retain anything. So how was that for you? Assuming you got distracted and opened a cheeky little tab to message me and complain about people.
Guilty. No, I'm always that kind of person that like always has to have her hands tied up. So if I can sense that, you know, this tutor's like rambling on and I'm not actually taking anything out of it, I will hop on and try to like chatting to someone else. Or if I have some other assignment that's due, I'll try and like sneak in a couple of paragraphs, or, you know, if it's like something as a hobby, like I'll just writing.
Does that make you then afterwards, when you're done doing that, go, shit, now I don't know what happened?
Every time you think I'd learn, but I don't. Yeah.
And you just get... Well, this is terrible to say. We won't name the subject, but there was one subject we would sit in particular where we would be on our phones the whole time. Like, we'd be sitting... Because we would FaceTime each other to do the subject. And I remember it was just us looking at our phone.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, we would be like, and what
did we take away?
What did we gain from that? And it was nothing because... and also, ADHD or not, I don't think anyone can sit for an hour and look at a screen and have someone talk at you with no ability to interject. I don't think anyone can do that. And if they can, I'd like to meet them. I just want to talk. I really would.
Yeah.
Because that's impossible. I'm sorry, I'm not sitting in front of a screen to look at the same picture for 20 minutes for each slide.
French 7 is the one. No, not French 7, sorry. French translation.
Translation. And that's a hard subject in of itself.
It is hard.
It's a tough subject. And kudos to our teacher who was in France at the time of the... and had to record lectures, at God knows what awful time. But it's just not a conventional structure. Do you think lectures would have been better if they'd been live where you could interject? Like a normal lecture?
Because I had a subject like that. That was one of the cinema ones that I was taking last sem. So they would have the option, like if you couldn't attend at that time, they would record it and post it after, but they had it as a live Q&A kind of thing.
That's so good.
I thought that was probably the closest they could get to simulating real life. Like, I have it on, but if I can't go, like, I'll watch it. Yeah,
I think the lecture option is good. Like, I think now that we're going back to uni, I don't think any of my lectures are in person because there'd be too many people. Like, in my creative writing ones, there's usually like 250 plus people attending. Okay. But it does make it convenient because, to be honest, if I've got one lecture and then my next class is at, 3 o'clock and my lecture's at 9 a.m, I'm going to watch it at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going into uni for one lecture and then waiting until, 3 o'clock to attend my tutorial or whatever. So, so what do you think you're going to find weird or interesting being back on campus? Are you excited or... I am. I'm dying.
I'm excited. There are lots of people that I haven't seen that I'm excited to see again. Like, it's been over a year for us. So that's what I'm looking forward to. It's just in general, I really like...
the environment.
Studying in a cafe or,
getting a crave.
Oh my God, I miss that.
I hope it's open.
I'm sure it is.
It better be.
I'm sure it is, yeah. Is there anything that I don't look forward to? Probably the commute, which I shouldn't complain about because there are some people that have it even worse when they have to travel to Clayton or whatever it is. But, I would say I'm happy to be going back. Certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Happy to be back. Are you happy that some of your... So the subject you're doing now obviously is online. Are some of your others fully online or dual or...
Oh, this is an interesting question, actually. They sent out an email a couple of weeks ago saying that, how you have to put your preferences in and they say if it's actually in person or if it's not. Let's just say that there's a tutorial for a subject that runs on a Tuesday and there's a tutorial for that same subject that runs on a Thursday. The Tuesday one will be online and the Thursday one will be in person.
Yep.
Because it still has to cater for all of those students who actually aren't in Australia. So,
and who can't come in for, whatever reason. Okay. Yeah.
So it's a hybrid kind of thing, which, I don't know, it can be convenient. It cuts down my contact hours on campus, which might not be the worst thing. But at the same time, like, what happens if I would like to come in, but I can't do the Thursday one and I would have to come in on the Tuesday one, but that's not an option. So, I don't know. It's hard to cater for everyone. I shouldn't really complain about that.
Yeah.
But, no, I think the hybrid thing is
cool. Yeah. And I think now universities, we're not just targeting Melbourne, have less of an excuse to stuff up because I think they've been given a year to get their act together so that if, let's say, we have to go into touch wood, another lockdown for, let's say, 3 months, we can smoothly just transition into it because subjects will already be online. But what I found depressing is that so many subjects that I needed and wanted to do for my major, I don't know if it's the same for you, were not available this year.
That is the same. There's been a lot that aren't offered anymore just because staff aren't there. Staff have been cut.
It's so sad.
So I'm sure this is probably the case for you and heaps of other art students as well as the commerce students, but there were subjects that I had on my plan, you know, for third year, and now I've arrived at third year and it's like,
no,
I can't do it, but those were the ones that were appealing to me. And for commerce, and for someone who's not really a commerce person, you know, it was really hard to find things that I thought were remotely interesting.
It's really, I found that really sad because I'm doing a double major and I knew that I wanted to do certain French subjects for my French major and all of them are unavailable. And there was one subject I really didn't want to do because I'm not into it, but I might end up loving it. It might be proven wrong, was French cinema.
Right.
And that was
the one where you have to, oh no, is that the one that's the theatre one?
No, not the theatre one. It's French cinema, New Wave and Beyond, which I'm really, it's not shading the subject, it's just not an interest of mine. Sure. And that's something I'm going to have to do. And when ringing course advisors, they were like, well, just give it a red hot go. And it's like, I will because I have to.
You have to, yeah.
You know, my creative writing subject, they almost forced me into doing poetry. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Yeah, have a red hot go. We know how that's worked out in many instances. Give it a go. Piece of advice for everyone. If you are overseas in France, do not take a subject that is not within your year level. Yeah. If you're in second year, do not take a third year subject. Take a second.
First year, don't take a master's.
Don't take a master's. Oh my God, because we were first years.
Effectively, yeah.
We were in they thought I was in L3, so that's a whole different podcast.
That's its own podcast.
Episode. Hell. So if you were to give a rating, which is a really bad way of summing things up, but if you were to give a rating to Melbourne Uni on their online uni, what would you give them and why? And how could they improve? A point.
So is 10 like
the
perfect
best?
Transition?
Yes.
Okay,
and
it was not 10.
It was not 10.
To be fair, I don't think you'd find 10 anywhere unless you were at Oxford. Okay.
Situation got really bad in Oxford. Apparently. Yeah, like they really stuffed up. There were like student complaints, like people were writing newsletters.
Oh my God, that's what we should have done. That's funny.
We wrote letters though.
That is a good one.
I'd give it a 1.
I'd give it a.
I'm gonna be nice and give it a 3.
Yeah, you know what? It will be around that end of the spectrum, the scale. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4.
That's kind.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Yeah. And it isn't to say that, you know, I blame certain individuals, although there were certain individuals. Yeah,
and we're not blaming the lecturers because I had fantastic lecturers.
No.
This isn't a shade on teachers. We love them here, but it was the institution.
I appreciate that there's only so much that an individual can do. They, like students are, they are humans. And they are
fallible.
You know, still have a life, even though we were all at home for a certain period.
But they have a life.
I felt like anytime that I was asking for help, I felt like the attitude was to say no first.
Like in France, yeah.
And then say, oh, look, we tried that.
Yeah.
No, it's try this. I'll help you try that.
It's a refusal.
And then, Mm-hmm. So the attitude and the culture around that I didn't think was very nice.
I think that's a good point, and I would extend and say that I think the university needs to listen to students more. And I know that when we were on campus, we always had to do those subject surveys. Have they been done again? Because I feel like this time it would be much more valuable to hear from students, because even though, you know, who do you think you are? You're just a student. You know, you're getting an education, be grateful, and I am, but it's my right to receive an education. But I think people higher up need to listen to students more.
They do.
They need to, when who did a fantastic job advocating for students with disabilities, students who are struggling, the amnesty, the uni kind of looked at it as, they're protesting, that God bless, it's all part of the student experience. And it's like, no, wait until we get French about it and we start blocking the campus. And the thing is that that's such a difference in French, in European and Anglo universities. In Europe, in France, my uni, and I'm not advocating for this, was covered in tags, F the police, death to capitalism, education, all these slogans, and teachers took them seriously, like kids would strike, whereas at Melbourne Uni and at other universities, I think if we started doing that, it'd be, tantrum. That's so nice. And I actually think they need to take in consideration legitimate concerns, because if they don't have us, they don't have a uni.
Absolutely.
Like, we're the ones helping you guys out. So
Absolutely.
I think they need to take us a little more seriously, because it's not cute.
No, and I was hesitant in bringing this up, but I think it's appropriate. With the whole staff cuts and everything like that, I get that there's financial things that you need to be, like on top of. But I felt like a lot of corners were cut, and that really impacted the quality of the help that we did get, if there was any help at all to get. And there was a case earlier on in the year. It didn't really make the headlines. So it's not as if I'm spilling any secrets, because it is public knowledge. But there was the case about student sexual harassment.
Right.
And the uni had the funds, a lot of funds, to help this professor or, whoever he was.
It was the largest cover-up payout in Australian history to cover up a sexual assault.
I don't have the number in my head.
700,000.
There we go. 700,000.
Not 700, not 70,000. $700,000, yes, were paid out.
So
I should put a trigger warning there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that beforehand, yeah.
So I'm not at all saying that they shouldn't have paid that. They should have paid that, but it shows that they were capable of paying that. So for them to turn around at some stage and say, "Oh, we can't help anybody out," like it's
And when people respond with, well, the reason that payout happened, I'm not saying that it was okay, but what I'm saying is that they had to preserve their reputation. It's like, all right, morally, I couldn't do that. I couldn't pay someone to preserve the reputation if I knew that person had assaulted someone.
Yeah.
But your reputation doesn't look great if you're not helping students struggling with online uni either.
Yeah.
So, you're going to look really crappy for having a sexual assault on your campus, but you also look pretty bad. This goes for any uni where you're not supporting students who have learning issues, mental health issues, or who are just struggling in general. It doesn't make you look very good.
No.
Like, you don't have a stellar reputation. It's not without blemish, and they absolutely have the funds. Most universities do. We need to,
Forgot to bring this up, but this was a big point earlier on in the year. I don't know if you recall, I'm sure you do, but on their Facebook page, they were inundated, and I mean inundated, with comments about why is the census date not being pushed up.
Absolutely.
And the reason why there was so much hesitance to change that was because it meant that if they kept the census date to where it was, and you had all of this uncertainty about these students overseas who couldn't come to their classes, and they weren't sure if they were taking the subjects, but they didn't have enough time to unenroll, and meant that they still had to pay.
And which caused so much stress.
Just anxiety. It was really
not
anxious
good.
time for everyone. And it was just...
that was a disgrace.
It was a very clear prioritization
of the funds. They're trying to hoard funds. And what I did not understand was, among the Facebook comments, there was that person defending, saying, you don't know what the university is going through. Like, why are you talking about the university as if it's this, like, person, like this one girl that we're picking on who's having a rough time? Like, why are you picking on them? Like, who's them?
Who's
the big guys up there, and yet why are we criticizing them? That's conspiracy. How is it conspiracy?
It's not a conspiracy.
If it was conspiracy, I would have made a whole
is not
podcast
cute
about it.
and
No,
on. Like,
this isn't reptilian overlords. There's no one up there that we are trying to, overtake and deep state. The deep state. There's none of that. And the hoarding, and that just created so much stress among students. And I'd like to see, and I probably should have looked it up for this episode, the rate of dropouts in the year due to either could not be bothered or my mental health was so bad I had to stop.
Well, personally, I had to underload.
Yeah.
I was taking 3 Brett's subjects, which is supposed to be a lot, not easier, but just it's
less
your
intense
hobby, it's your interest and stuff, so it's easier in that way.
Yeah.
But I still had to underload because I was like,
you can't do it.
I cannot.
I'd like to know how many students underloaded, and I might do that after this interview because I'm going to do a next part of reflection. How many students felt that they could not continue? Like, that's pretty scary to think that students were having such a bad time that they had to literally not have an education. Like, that's...
It is,
and to be told, we'll just take a leave of absence is quite abusive.
It is, because it's assuming that we have all the time in the world, all of the funds in the world to be able to extend. Like, ultimately, I don't want to be at uni forever.
Yeah. I mean, I do, because I don't have to work. No, I'm kidding. But no, not everyone wants to be at uni. Yeah. Capitalism sucks. I don't want to be at uni forever.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people dropped out. Like, I know that some friends of friends, so less close, so many people dropped out because their mental health was just appalling. And on my ADHD support group, there was one person who was like, my online uni experience being ADHD was so bad I had to leave. Their uni would send them a slideshow, like in PowerPoint slides. They would have to read that and then email the teacher any questions. And that was their extent of their education. I don't know what uni that was at. And I thought, you know what? It's terrible you dropped out, but if you'd stayed, what would you have gained this year?
Wow.
That's really... And I interviewed Sam a few weeks ago, and his main question was, what did we miss out on with this experience? Like, I'm sure there were educational and skill things that we never got to have because of online uni. I think some we missed out, and we can name some of the things, but I think later on, maybe this year, we'll do a subject and go, oh my God, if I had had a better experience last year, I wouldn't be lacking in this area. It's almost like we missed a step. Like, our development, like...
No, I do too, because...
Like, that's a big claim. I'm not saying that, mentally, but I feel like, I might have regressed a little.
No, I do too. I was actually thinking about this exact thing earlier on today. The fact that I don't think it would be fair to say that we had a second year at uni and then suddenly we're at the pointy end of our course, and it's like, in 10 months' time, I'm finding a graduate job.
And I have to go on to do a master's.
I was actually thinking about doing postgrad straight after, but I'm like, I don't know.
Well, that's my whole existential crisis that I don't know. But
I don't think I really know. Like, I don't feel as if I've been equipped with anything.
And people are like, that's just because you did an arts degree, Lucy. No, I think...
Well, I'm in a commerce one.
Yeah, you're in a commerce one. I think this second year was a bit of a... Like, we got... it's like when you're a kid, you learn how to crawl, potty, read, and I think we missed out on the crawling stage. Like, a milestone was missed.
Yeah. When I think about 2020, like, I think it was because we spent so much time at home.
And this isn't missed out as in we missed out on fun things. It's educational, we're saying. Yeah.
Our sense of time has just kind of... Like, I still feel as if I've just come home from France and that 2020 hasn't existed. Like, I don't know how
It's a fog, and it's
a huge fog.
And, as someone who prides themselves on being very, like, I'm got a good work ethic, my ADHD will not hold me back. I feel like, is this the ADHD, or did I really miss...
No, you missed a lot.
There's like a puzzle piece in the brain, and it did not fit. Yeah. Like, I'm not playing with a full deck of cards, and I can't imagine other students who didn't even get to go to uni. they missed out on
everything.
But to think we're in our final year, I really... what...
I don't know.
I don't...
What comes after this, because for us it's like from what, when we were 5 to now, so 2021. School is all that we've learned.
It's part of our life, and in other countries it's not, but in it's where you find your friends, you know. It's you're there 6 hours a day every day except for weekends. And with uni it's a little different, but I feel like there was, and maybe that's our own fault, you know. People might respond to this and say, well, you didn't try enough, you didn't work hard enough. Well, then I guess then we deserve it. Like, if we didn't try hard enough, then I'm guilty. But I think we tried, and I think there's a certain point where you try and then you're not getting anything, and it's just a mental block and drain, and having to underload is an example of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having to do that is an indicator that you did not try. Like, you gave it a go. And how can you say we didn't try and then tell us to take a leave of absence? Which brings you less money. Silly. They should have encouraged us to...
Yeah, exactly.
to keep studying. And, yeah, I just think...
I wonder what kind of trajectory graduate students will take, just because...
The world of work as a graduate.
Yeah.
Going into offices.
The opportunities aren't really there at the moment. You know, there aren't a whole heap of people hiring. It'll be complicated. It'll be complicated. So I think it'll force a lot of people to be like, oh, you know, I was planning on finding a job and then commencing my postgrad, but, you know, that could bring that forward, and everyone just goes straight from undergrad to postgrad, which is what I'm thinking about now.
That's what I have to do. People are like, why are you doing an postgrad with arts? It's like, because I'm doing an arts degree. And while arts degrees are wonderful, I'm not bagging arts degrees, I'm doing one. You can't, for me personally, I won't be able to do what I want to do if I just have an arts degree. Like, my parents both have arts degrees, but the way they became teachers was by doing a postgrad, doing a dip ed. You can't, like, I want to do policy writing and law. I can't do that with an arts degree. And even, with commerce, I think, can't you become an accountant? Like, you can become an accredited accountant if you just do a bachelor.
Choose.
Do you get anything, or do you have to do a
on top of that, you do have to do your CPA accreditations and stuff, so it's like on top of that.
But no one wants to be an accountant.
Yeah.
And people who are doing a science degree.
I would rather die.
Yeah, and I don't know anyone who just got a science degree is becoming a doctor now. You have to do biomed or whatever. But yeah, I just wonder, the future is very scary after COVID, because we're all in a sort of days of like, we're out of lockdown, but now having this conversation, I think, what? That fog hasn't come up yet. It's there. It hasn't. And people are like, oh, stop saying it's a fog. Like, it's not a collective thing. Like, it is a bit of a, like, it is trauma fog. And I'm not trying to say that it's like coming out of the war or anything of the sort. It's not at all. I'm not comparing.
It's its own unique thing that we don't really have anything to compare it to, which is why
it's like, and I don't even know how to feel, because when people are like, oh, how do you feel about COVID? I have no idea, because I hate to sound like a wanker, but I feel numb.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, I'm just out of lockdown, but I feel like after maybe towards the end of the year, we're going to sort of realise that things are very, very strange, and education does not look the same. Which is kind of sad, but also good, because change needs to happen. But it kind of makes me a bit scared of going back into a lockdown and having to do online uni again. I don't think I can do it again. I can't.
No.
I can't. Especially this year. I feel so sorry for final year students who had to do their final year in lockdown. I'm really sorry for them, because I think it would have been a disaster. I think I would have had a breakdown.
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
And I'm pretty resilient, but I think it would have been a breakdown. Or if we'd been overseas in our final year, well, we wouldn't have gotten any credit for the subjects.
No, exactly.
Did you get any credit?
No. Did you?
No. So, fun fact, we had to leave early, as we said earlier, and I got my email of results from my French university, and it was all fail, because they thought I was there but didn't show up. They were never told I left, even though I told them, and I unenrolled.
Story of our lives at that uni, like turning up and it's like, who are you? It's like, I'm here on exchange. What do you mean you don't know who I am? No, we haven't received any communicate. Like,
And I thought you were.
I spent 6 months preparing this. Like, I've got all my papers. Like,
Oh
what
my
do you mean?
gosh. All the work, and you did so many tests, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I had to prove my French proficiency. Like, come on.
Come on.
Really?
What proficiency? Do you have one in Spanish?
Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish. I'm not fluent in French at all.
But yeah, no. But to lighten things up, to end this on a
Positive note.
funny, positive note, do you have a funny online uni story, like an awkward moment that can make us laugh? I have many, but I don't know if I could say them because they involve people, and I don't want to make fun.
Do I have a funny story?
Crack a bag.
Oh, crack a bag. Okay, I don't think anyone will find this funny, but for
I
our
might.
screenwriting class,
Shout out to Lisa.
Shout out to Lisa Smithies and our beautiful lecturer Rada.
Yes, go Rada, queen.
We had to look at a particular screenplay. It was an Australian screenplay set in the 80s, and it was
interesting.
it was what even was that?
It was
12 pages of garbage having to empathize with a little girl whose fireworks
it didn't work.
Stuff.
And it was like really sort of the push for the white suburban Australia, which makes me shiver. And I didn't even grow up then.
It was presented
I wouldn't have been allowed.
Where like this thing that happened, the fact that her fireworks stuffed up, it was like this harrowing
experience,
painful loss.
And I'm not trying to make fun of anyone, but there were people in the class who like related, like compare, like what did you relate it to? Like your dog dying? Like how?
No, I was like, I don't understand what the character is interpreting this to be. Like, I didn't know what the holistic, global, universal message was supposed to be. It was just like she spent some coins on some explosives and
which are illegal. So she was breaking the law.
She could have been called a terrorist, but she was white and Australian. So no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And now onto our political segment about ISIS. No, kidding. Yeah, that was a funny experience, but it was a funny, you had to be there to like know it. What about a funny French one in translation? Surely there was a funny story we can leave people with, a translation.
Are you trying to prompt me? Like, is there a story that I...
No. I'm trying to prompt myself. What's a funny story? Was there a word we couldn't translate? Was there a funny text? To make people laugh.
I wish I did. I wish I was more entertaining than this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I had this German teacher who, is incredible. Like, she obviously speaks German and then French and then English, and it's like, oh my God, I wish I was trilingual like that. But it was really odd and very stereotypically German. She would laugh anytime the word war would come up. So she found, as I said, it's very stereotypically German. Like we were translating this thing about
yikes.
Like it trends, something after World War II.
World War II.
Yes.
Right. I thought you meant just war in general.
Well,
okay.
Anytime the word war was
she chuckled.
Said,
was it a
in
cynical chuckle? Like,
no, like she found it genuinely funny. Guerre, which is the French word for war, she would be like, oh my God.
Really?
Which is like, that's funny.
Well, for our French speakers and German speakers and just anyone, does the word war conjure any comedic feelings? Because
Blitzkrieg, like, is that I think that's how you say war in... No, isn't it Krieg? I think Krieg is war.
I think it's a Krieg.
Yeah.
Does that conjure any feelings
Does that
for you?
tickle your funny bone.
Does that
Not
make
tickling
does
my
that tickle?
funny bone.
That doesn't tickle my funny bones. Did that make you laugh?
But she found it funny, and the class would be like,
Okay.
we might hang up.
We might,
Oh
that
my
was
God.
see that was funny.
Yeah.
We might just end the Zoom. The number of times the teacher would be like, "Okay, we're done," and I would just leave. And my friend would say she's still talking, and I'd say, "Well, she said we're done." So
Any hint at the class is wrapping up.
Literally, the teacher takes a breath, and it's still 1 hour into the class. I've left the call.
Oh, that is funny.
It's true. What do I have to do? I have to be there? I mean, I wouldn't do that in a real class. I can imagine the teacher saying, "All right, everyone," and me just
Standing up and leaving.
and standing up and I used to do that in breakout rooms when I couldn't cope. I used to leave. And one of my friends who was in my class in my French class where I would always have my camera off, she goes, "I didn't know if you were too cool for school or just not there," and I said both.
Both. Oh my God. That is funny.
We don't encourage leaving Zooms early.
I
Don't do that.
I do.
I do. We're going to get parents commenting being like, "You are such bad role models.
I don't want my
just-
kid going to Unimel. Is that the worst piece of advice though? Kidding.
Are you?
It's the country's most prestigious uni. How could you not?
How could you not? It's 32nd in the world. And it has ties to Lyon 2 and Lyon 3, even though they don't have a partnership. Okay, so thank you so much, Cairo, for coming. Cairo will
Thank
be
you
a
for inviting
reoccurring
me.
guest.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's been fun.
This has been fun, and we're going to talk about our exchange, I think, for the next episode, because we keep alluding to things, and I feel like people are like, what are they on about? Like, why are you laughing about, having to do a master's in your first year? But that's for the next episode. So give another round of applause to Cairo. Trent, you're going to have to insert.
Thank you.
And cheers, and we'll be back another time.